Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the weekly show with Aditya, India's number one podcast, with India's number one host, Aditya. Coming to you live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In association with Dusra.net, the number one website in sports, education, and entertainment. This is episode 48. I am your award winning host, Aditya. On the 22nd of March 2019, the time by the studio clock is 11 am. We are all set to be entertained by four big tournaments. That is the Sultan Azlan Shah tournament, the Indian T20 League, WrestleMania, and to cap it off, the grandest of them all, the 50 over Cricket World Cup. And let's discuss each tournament and its significance one by one. The Sultan Azlan Shah Cup. Well, not many know about this, but this is an annual tournament in the Indian hockey schedule. They play every year in Malaysia around this time of the year as the summers begin to affect us. And now this tournament becomes more important as the road to Olympics gets nearer and nearer. In fact, every hockey tournament is a chance for the players to show that they are ready for Olympics. We have to understand the fact that Sultan Azlan Shah Cup is the first tournament since the World Cup. In the interim, the hockey players have played some domestic matches, but on the international stage, this is a huge opportunity for a few new ones and the ones who remain on the fringes as well as on the benches to showcase their talent. The disappointment of the Hockey World Cup still linger around as India had a very good chance to win the World Cup, securing a medal in the form of silver or gold, as nothing less than these two medals will be accepted by the team management and the Hockey India organization. Since we do not have a full-time hockey coach, it is a great opportunity for the senior, especially the former captain and the senior goalkeeper in Srijesh, to take the mantle of leading a team which is a combination of young and experience, as a few hockey players are on the sidelines due to injury and not being in the form they were expected to be. So, SV Sunil and others are not going to be a part of this tournament. It becomes even more important for the ones like Surinder Kumar, Barinder Lakra to step up and show that they have been a part of the team for the past 2 years and more, and now they have enough experience to take this team to greater heights, because the 2020 Olympics and then the 2022 World Cup is going to be a crucial milestone in the Indian hockey schedule, with sports like cricket, tennis, shooting dominating the Indian media for the next couple of months. It is crucial that the hockey players carve their identity by putting on a show of their lives. And even if a Sultan Azlan Shah Cup does not figure in the important tournaments for Indian media, a memorable performance will make them see this and we will respect the team more. India will be against the likes of Poland, Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and Canada, and all these teams have had India's number in the past. Remember Malaysia beating India in the Asian Games semi final when everything was going India's way? Yes, What about Canada securing a World Cup spot by beating India in? So it's not going to be exactly about winning the tournament or securing a gold, though that should remain the purpose. But it's about making sure that every tournament is now a practice for the next couple of big tournaments, which also includes the 2022 Asian Games. India will have to be wary of conceding penalty corners and goals in the last few seconds, because in hockey, even 10 seconds is enough for teams to put pressure on their opponents, and making sure that they use those 10 seconds to the fullest extent. India will also have to use their reviews. Yes, there is a DRS kind of review in hockey wisely, and make sure that they do not waste it on unnecessary situations, because these reviews can be very useful when it comes to those close calls as far as penalty corners are concerned. I will be bringing you analysis and in-depth coverage of every match. So stay tuned and do listen to a very special coverage of the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup. Let's move on to the next big tournament, which has been hyped and will dominate the scenes. It is the Indian T20 League, which will be starting tomorrow. And how is this league important? Well, the league is not technically important, but it is another form of entertainment. It's a pay-per-view just before the World Cup. It allows players of different nationalities to gather for the one last time before they disperse again for the big one in the World Cup. Just as we have the EPL and the Champions League, where players from different countries come together before they would disperse again for the World Cup. Similar is the situation for this tournament. Which of the 8 teams in Chennai, Bombay, Rajasthan, Calcutta, Delhi has a chance to win? Well, it's difficult to say. All 8 teams are stacked with good players, and they will be raring to go for another shot at the trophy, which will give them some confidence, especially the ones who will be leaving for the World Cup. The Indian T20 League can be equated to when we go for summer internships, where we have some experience and earn more than what we do the entire year. So yes, the Indian T20 League, especially in the Indian summer, is like an internship. This tournament has its pros and cons, and you can read more about this on my website www.thedusra.net, that is www.thedusra.net. 45 days of the Indian T20 League to be followed by 45 days of the World Cup. So yes, it's going to be an overdose of the sport called cricket. The World Cup returns to England after 20 years, except for Australia, India and Sri Lanka. No other team has won this tournament on their home soil. Well, Sri Lanka technically won it in Lahore, but yes, that means subcontinent, and in a way, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh are sort of in the same boat. Could we see the obvious teams in Australia, South Africa, England, New Zealand, Pakistan, Sri Lanka take away the cup, or are we going to have a surprise in Bangladesh, West Indies and Afghanistan? Well, Belgium did surprise us when they won the Hockey World Cup. So yes, do not be alarmed when you may have a surprise in this World Cup because all 10 teams are equal. No team is on a weaker side, nor any team has any advantage, even if England are the hosts. And looking at the trend where the last two World Cups were won by the countries hosting them, and the finals were played between the host countries. In 2011, India and Sri Lanka were hosting the World Cup. Yes, Bangladesh also hosted the World Cup. India and Sri Lanka did not have it easy as they made their way to the World Cup finals. In a mirror image, Australia and New Zealand hosted the 2015 World Cup, and Australia beat India in the semi-finals while New Zealand beat South Africa in the semi-finals, as these two teams also made their way to the finals before Australia decimated New Zealand, before Australia became five-time world champion. So much was expected from their hockey counterparts, but they couldn't do it. So, can the cricket team bring home the trophy? Or will four-time semi-finalist South Africa and finalists in the 2015 World Cup New Zealand spring up a surprise? Stay tuned for an in-depth analysis which I shall be bringing of the 2019 World Cup. Seth Rollins, the 2019 Royal Rumble winner, who chose Brock Lesnar as his opponent at the main event of WrestleMania, has a very tough task on his hands. Lesnar has survived competitors before in the form of Goldberg, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. He will look to continue his streak of retaining the Universal Championship, but Seth Rollins will not be an easy opponent to face. While Lesnar and Rollins fight for the Universal Championship, we have some great non-title matches. The first one is the rivalry between Batista and Triple H. The former has been going on at Triple H for the past couple of weeks, and now Triple H is looking to come out of a semi-retirement stage and fight at WrestleMania, which was always going to be on the cards, and facing Batista, an opponent he has known for the past couple of decades. It will be one hell of a match, just like the one we had between Shawn Michaels and Triple H versus Undertaker and Kane. With Kurt Angle looking to retire, he chooses Baron Corbin as his WrestleMania opponent. These two have also had a very similar rivalry in terms of being off the stage. Remember that it was Baron Corbin who made Kurt Angle lose his job of being the general manager, which ticked Angle off, and since then these two have been looking to outdo the other. So let's see what happens when these two superstars face each other and whether Kurt Angle can go on a high in his last match. Another non-title match to look forward to is the one between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, who has returned to in-ring action after a 5-month break, has had his share of rivalry with Drew McIntyre, who has beaten his former Shield partners and will look to make it 3-0 as he resolves to beat Roman Reigns and prepares for a future title opportunity. So these are the couple of big matches scheduled as WrestleMania, and as more and more matches are revealed, I will be bringing you in-depth coverage of each match as well as the preceding tournaments I talked about, which included the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup, the Indian T20 League, and the World Cup. So stay tuned for my in-depth analysis and coverage. So if you want to be a part of my show, please send your valuable suggestions and send your recordings on topics ranging from sports, education and entertainment on the email ID Aditya the writer at gmail.com. That is Aditya the writer at gmail.com. Thank you for listening to this episode. Please like and subscribe to my Facebook page and YouTube channel and stay tuned for the next episode.